Hey guys, so in this video we're going to discuss a topic that I've seen a lot in my comments as well as on Twitter. Many commentators have been talking about the skill gap among players, which was recently highlighted by the prevalence of hyperroll and forced compositions, along with the controversial qualification process for the Team Liquid tournament for the World Championship. If you even mention Teamfight Tactics, auto battlers, or card games to other gamers, you'll always hear something like, Teamfight Tactics is all RNG. RNG refers to random number generator, and what these people are saying essentially is that Teamfight Tactics is just all about luck. While it is true that there is luck and chance involved in Teamfight Tactics, there also is a lot of skill expression in managing this variance. So what is skill expression? For the 83.6 of you who are new here, in my last video I talked about how a player changed the meta by introducing a new playstyle. His strategy has now been adopted by many of the other top challenger players, and sometimes skill expression isn't done inside the game. In this instance, this player attributes most of his decision making to math and statistics calculated before the game. With that being said, it wasn't RNG that allowed him to climb the ranks so quickly. After RNG, we also have lower ranked players saying that they would be challenger if they played 8 hours a day. I obviously disagree with all of this. There's good practice and then there's bad practice. This video will focus on how to improve by showing that RNG and lack of games played is not the factor holding people's ranks back. The tips and tricks in this video will change the way you approach the game in order to become a better player in less than an hour each day. This video will also be helpful for players who self-diagnose as hard stuck and don't feel like they can improve anymore, and just feel like they're kind of staying at the same skill level. You'll see that these players are just not practicing efficiently. The first aspect of your play you should change is your framework. In order to get better at TFT, you need to be changing the way you approach the game. Whether you are in Silver, Diamond, or Challenger, everyone wants to hit the next tier in Teamfight Tactics, but most players don't even line up their playstyle with that goal. For instance, I see many players complaining about certain team compositions and where they're placed on my tier list because they never win the lobby, which is absolutely backwards thinking when assessing team composition strength. If a composition never won but got third place every time, I would play it every game. If you truly wanted to improve your rank, you'd focus on maximizing the results of each game instead of focusing solely on winning. This means that if you are in a game where it is highly improbable to get first place, you should be playing for 4th or even 6th. It's just dependent on your draws. Another way to think about this is, what if there's a game with 8 versions of yourself playing? You're obviously not better or worse than yourself, so there will always be games where you are 7th or 8th. The question is, in your 8th place games, what can you do to maximize your chances of getting 7th? This is a question that many players don't even ask, and instead these players rage at the game, write it off as bad luck, and that they could have done nothing differently. So again, focus on maximizing your potential in each game rather than trying to win each game. Next up, I want to talk about changing your mentality. If you are truly dedicated to improving and getting better, I urge you to go into every game with the goal of getting better instead of trying to win the game. If your TFT rank is directly correlated with skill, you will be a higher rank if you are more skilled. Therefore, every game that you play should be focused on improving at TFT. In time, your rank in TFT will follow your skill level. Compare this to abusing an overpowered, easy-to-play composition every game. This does nothing for you in the long run because once the composition is nerfed in the next patch, you'll lose all the LP that you gained that patch because you didn't get better at the game. This is especially true when players are abusing bugs and glitches before a hotfix. With this in mind, we know that we can experiment and learn during each game as long as it leads to us becoming better players. Once you are comfortable with your skill level, you can then start to go into every game trying to maximize your placements based on your draws. Next, we also have players who think that rank is determined by how many games you play. This can be seen on any stat tracking site where we see that the number of games played goes up based on rank. Discussions around the Team Liquid tournament really bring this sentiment to light, as we have many people thinking Silver players have a chance to qualify for the World Championships. These players think that the only reason why they are still Silver is because they didn't grind enough games to get to Challenger. As a former Challenger and currently Master player, I'll say that time spent on the game does increase your skill. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. However, when we look at the average numbers of games played for Gold players, we can see that they play around 75 games. Challengers average around 400 games, while Masters are at 250. I can confidently tell you that Gold players playing more games without improving will not get them to Challenger. These ratings are pretty accurate because personally, I've climbed to Masters in 75 games, and I know Challenger players rank up their second account to Masters in around 50 games. I can also tell you that as a player who's been at both ranks, there's a huge skill differential. You also have to realize that Teamfight Tactics rankings are competitive. All of your opponents are also trying to get better. Each tier has approximately the same player distribution for the entire season, so you must know that this is a player versus player game. This means that getting a better rank is not just simply improving at Teamfight Tactics. Instead, it is improving at Teamfight Tactics faster than your opponents. Next up is managing randomness and luck in TFT. We've heard it too many times before, like, oh, I only lost because of RNG. Since the same people get to Challenger and the top 5 players in each region all have their second account in the top 10 as well, it is evident that skill is the main factor for your rank. I can't believe I need to state that. Of course, there are times where games are very frustrating and it's okay to let your emotions loose. However, do not let this affect your play. Past fortunes or misfortunes have no bearing on future outcomes. For example, if we toss a fair coin, it should land on heads or tails 50% of the time. If the coin landed heads 4 times in a row, which is a 6.25% chance, there's still a 50% chance it would land on heads or tails on the 5th toss. Thinking that it would land on tails because it had already landed on heads 4 times is erroneous. This belief is called gambler's fallacy. Next, I want to introduce to you guys the concept of expected value and being results oriented. In TFT, we should always try to maximize our expected value for our placement in that particular lobby. We shouldn't be results oriented. For example, if you did poorly with an uncontested composition because you did not hit your units, it doesn't mean that you should avoid playing uncontested compositions the next game. Conversely, just because you won with the suboptimal composition doesn't mean you should go with that composition again just because it worked in the past. Don't focus on your results, focus on your process and your plays. This can be illustrated by the lottery. The person who wins the Powerball is a multimillionaire, and if you ask him how he got rich, he'll say, I bought a bunch of lottery tickets. Unfortunately, the expected value of this play is very, very low, and we shouldn't focus on his result. Now that we have the right way to approach the game, the next thing I want you guys to do is really watch videos on demand. This could be either your own, your friends, or higher ranked players. This is much better than watching streams, as I've stated before, because you could pause and play, fast forward, rewind, in order to really nail down the best play. What I personally do is find a couple of streamers that I rotate through every week, but I try to only watch one streamer per week. All you have to do is watch one VOD a day, and either do it before or in the middle of when you're playing. For example, if you're going to play 2 games of TFT, you could either watch a VOD right before you play or after the first game. This way you can apply exactly what you learned into your next game. In terms of the level of the people you watch, I would recommend someone who's around 2 tiers higher than you, but nothing more than that. For example, if you're a silver player, you could learn stuff from watching challenger players, but a lot of the stuff they do might be too advanced, or they may be talking about concepts that you're not quite ready to learn yet until you've mastered the basics. Alternatively, you could also watch your own VODs if you record your gameplay, which I do highly recommend. There are many different recording software out there. I personally use OBS, but use whatever works best for you. Watch these replays and pause at every turn and try to figure out what the best play each turn is. Since you have unlimited time and no pressure, you'll be able to practice thinking about the process of what makes a move a good move. If you do have someone who's higher ranked than you who's able to watch the VOD with you, that's even better than doing it on your own because you'll get direct feedback from someone else. Personally, what I do, I watch a couple of top 10 challenger players and I pause at the beginning of every stage. I ask myself, what would I do for the shop, items, champions, positioning, and then I'd resume the video. If there's ever a refresh of the shop or a set of roles, I'd pause and choose to see which units I would buy and sell. Over time, I know we're going to be spending a lot of time on these turns during the pausing and playing, and we don't have this much time during the actual game. But that's why over time, after we figure out how to identify the best move, we'll get much faster at this, and then we'll be able to apply it in our own games. There are many ways to get better at TFT. From getting feedback from all my viewers, I've found that these 3 concepts are the ones holding people back the most. To sum up, stop trying to win every game. Try to maximize your placements given your draws. Play each game with the goal of getting better in the long term. And finally, each game is statistically independent from each other. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. If you guys haven't joined already, I would head on over to my Discord at bunnymuffins.lol/discord to join a community of people all actively trying to get better at TFT. We've had tremendous support already with people going over VODs, offering coaching sessions, and also hosting in-house tournaments. If you want even more of this content, head on over to my website at bunnymuffins.lol to check out my latest articles, which I'll be posting regularly. I'll be streaming again this weekend from Friday to Sunday, and I'll also be updating my meta snapshot on this Friday as well. So I'll definitely see you guys there where I'll update you on the happenings in the meta. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe. And of course, smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.